The 32nd edition of the greatest junior heavyweight tournament in the world. As usual, we'll be bringing you shows mostly on the day, sometimes not, like tomorrow, because we don't know when it's going to get on to New Japan World. Covering the events of the day and the stories of the matches. And to join me on this relentless journey is Christy. How are you doing, Mom?
Hi. Yeah, it's been about a month. Or how long has it been? 2 weeks? 3 weeks?
3 weeks. Marcus has joined me for the Troopany show over the last 2 weeks. We've been watching.
I've been replaced.
You haven't been replaced. To be fair, Marcus has been doing it longer than you.
That is true. But I think by now I've done more episodes. Maybe.
That would be really interesting to find out, because Marcus has had 10 years and you've had about 7, but you had a bit of a layoff in the middle, didn't you? But you've done more episodes because you've done all the Today At shows have ramped up your episode numbers easily.
Yeah. So like 10 shows every couple of
months, tournaments. Yes. I did do a Today At Wrestling Don Taku to keep everyone informed last week.
I know, I've been listening.
And amazingly, I also discovered that if we don't swear, our YouTube viewership literally goes up by at least 200 or 300%. So putting that out there.
I am very sorry. I don't think I can help you there. I am very bad at not swearing. I don't swear much, but I can't stop myself when I do.
It's just my presence. I'm such a good influence on you.
I thought you were going to say the C word there. I'm such a...
Why was... No, I don't just randomly. I swear with purpose.
Okay.
It's also the fact we're both teachers. If our students ever listen to this, then... Anyway.
Well, if they end up swearing in English, I'd be like, well, that is correct, but not appropriate.
Yes.
No, the TH sounds is not that right. You need to correct your THs. And...
Yes. And there is no such thing as bad words, only bad intentions.
Well...
We justify our foul language. To each other, at least. And you, the listening audience of the Troopany show. Anywho,
I get to talk about New Japan for a change.
You do. It's been going well over there at All About All Japan.
It's been going okay. I'm kind of surprised no one's gotten injured yet. Anyway, knock on wood.
I was a lot on the podcast.
No, I mean, you never know. All Japan is intensive. Yeah, it's been fun. I've had Jessica from Jumping Knee Pod on there for this month's episode, and then next week I have another guest lined up who is a surprise. We'll have to find out soon. Well, not soon, in about 3 weeks.
There you go. Yes. So we're in Chiba. 1,000 people turned up at Yohas Arena. What? Capital Y O-H-A capital S Arena. Okay.
And then again, it's Y-O...
Y-O-H... Right, I'll send you the cage match page so you can read it, because it says Y O-H-A-S. I'm going to put this in our Discord chat.
Yohas.
Yes, as we... Yohas.
That sounds like a bastardization of either a German or a Dutch name.
Yes, so possibly could be a sponsor. Sponsor of the building. Possibly. Anywho, yeah, we were there, and it was good. I actually watched this out of order because I had to go shopping because I completely run out of food. So I'm more au fait with the earlier matches because I watched them last, if that makes sense. But anyway, we have...
You were like the better matches on last.
Yes. Bullet Club War Dogs, Robbie X and Taiji Ishimori defeated Gatsuya Murashima and Ninja Mac in 5 minutes and 27 seconds. The glorious professional performance of Robbie X and Taiji Ishimori in this match just made me smile. Because Robbie X takes out Ninja Mac out into the crowd and then whips him into the concession stands, picks up a mask off the concession stand and carries it back with him to the ring. I'm wondering what's going to happen here. Ishimori sees what he's trying to do, takes the ring pad down whilst he hands the mask to the referee to distract him, and then just slams Ninja Mac's head into the ring post. It's like, that's genius. This is just, watching these two wrestle is just like old school heels doing old school heel stuff because they're old school guys. And they're just so good at doing that stuff. Murashima and Mac didn't really stand a chance, and that's what this match was about, really. We got this guy in to be a ringer because that's what it is, and he's just that good. And I like Robbie, and there were Robbie X cards in the crowd. I'm so happy. Sorry, Jacob Austin Young, which I can't help sniggering about that you didn't get this job. But there you are. Things happen. They got the right man, in my opinion, to replace Bushi in this particular tournament. But a fun little opener. What did you think of this one, Christy?
You need to be careful because if you keep treating Jay like this, I'm going to adopt him and then we're in trouble.
I just like, you've got every tour. You've flown to Japan weeks upon weeks upon weeks, and it's like, we've got an open spot in the best of Super Juniors. We'll bring in this guy we've used a couple of times before who's very good. You're right. We'll sort you out for next year, promise.
No, but seriously. Like, I feel bad for him already. I'm like teetering on the edge of maybe I should adopt him and take care of him. No. I've gotten enough stress from the Jake Lee situation. Let's just end the Shota Umino situation.
Christy's home with stray wrestlers doesn't need any more incumbents, does it, really?
No, it doesn't. Anyway, Jay, you're okay by me. It's him. He's the mean one.
He's not horrible. But he just does make me smile.
He didn't want to see you wrestle this tour. It's so mean.
I know. I said I didn't want to see him wrestle. It's just like, oh my god, what does he have to do?
Celebrated that someone else joined and not you. So he clearly doesn't respect or appreciate you.
I didn't say it. Well, I mean, he's in United Empire, so he's got a long way to go for a start.
Most of the assholes are gone now. Yay!
A bunch of chaos traitors. Can't trust them. Just
there's only one bad dude left, and he's injured. So not that bad.
Yeah. Well, yeah. BJP is still part-time bad dude. So.
Oh, by the way, did you just say traitor and like Taiji Ishimori is in this match and you like him?
No, I didn't say I like Taiji Ishimori. I said I like their performance in this match. I said that United Empire are chaos traitors. That's what I said.
Okay.
Yeah, Taiji has never committed traitorous actions against chaos. Now, I will admit, the Bullet Club was founded by Machine Gun Carl Anderson, who was a chaos traitor. So yes.
Can I just say that?
It was a very long time ago.
Bullet Club and Chaos were like known rivals for the longest time.
That is true, yes.
And now you're like, yay, Bullet Club.
No, I'm yay Robbie X. There's a difference.
Who is in Bullet Club? And a traitor. And a scumbag.
Well, he's a
partner
scumbag,
to Taiji Ishimori, who is a traitor.
He's a very,
and a scumbag. And Bullet Club.
He's a very highly qualified traitorous scumbag. I'm
just saying, you seem a little biased against a certain.
You're a guy from my hometown who I've watched wrestle more than anybody else on these cards. Yes. Maybe.
I don't think it's entirely fair. I don't think you stick to your own rules.
But what would we be without fandom being, precocious and difficult to navigate?
I mean, I am biased, but I am honest about it. I am biased as F word, which I'm not saying.
Yes. Anyway, what did you think of this match?
Oh god, this is going to be a long one. I'm
wondering if we can get this show done quicker than it took the actual show, because the show was like 1 hour and 50 minutes, and I was wondering, like, we're going to talk a long time because we haven't talked for 3 weeks, and there's a bunch of stuff to talk about. So yes.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about the news. We haven't even talked about Naito and Bushi leaving.
Oh, we haven't. No, like me and Marcus did an whole segment on that last week.
I know.
So,
but yeah. I was like yelling at the screen, but you weren't responding. So it's kind of...
We've got that to talk about. It was also Resurgence last night, but we'll talk about that later as well. Anyway, carry on.
Anyway, this was cute. I enjoyed it. I also like that spot, but I like the part best where Robbie X grabs the mask and then just hits Ninja Mac soundly in the face with it. And it was such a loud smack that you could see like audience people who were still watching the ring, because I think Taiji Ishimori was killing a young lion. Just turned around in shock. Like, what the hell? Is there a gun? Oh wait, no. It's just Ninja Mac getting hit in the head. It was a lot of fun, lots of flips. Ninja doing the flips, not Morishima. That would have been funny though. Morishima looking so big next to Ninja Mac, which I appreciated. And I just appreciate. Sorry?
It's interesting. I was going to say it's interesting when you see different guys from different promotions and they come like in a situation like this, because I always thought Ninja Mac was quite beefy for a junior, right? When you put him up against like Yohei and Hayata in Noah, he looks quite thick set, yes. And then you watch him in this match and they square off at the beginning, and Robbie X is actually the same height as he is. I was like, oh.
Yeah, he's beefy, but he's short.
Yes.
So it's okay if the others are short too, and then they are skinny and he is a little heavy set. But Morishima is taller and like twice his weight. It's ridiculous.
Yes. Morishima is Mr. 5v5. Someone posted a picture of Asanali Bay, who was a European wrestling star of the 1950s, one of my dad's favorite wrestlers. And I was like, oh, Morishima is going to be like that guy. I'll have to send you a picture later. But yeah, it was. Murashima is going to be Mr. 5x5. He does remind me already of like Hashimoto in that kind of like his body shape is just the right size, just bulldoze people. When he gets to the main roster, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. Anything else you'd like to say about this match?
Yeah, just Ninja Mac being amazing, and he's barely done anything because this is a multi-man match, and he's probably saving his most impressive shit for the singles matches. But end of the podcast, Ninja Mac. This is a joke, by the way. Like, unlike other podcasters, we don't actually get backstage scoops from the talent. We just like exchange the occasional tweet where I mock them a little, and they go, "Hey," and that's mostly what it is. Just enjoy seeing Ninja Mac. Ninja Mac Robbie X is going to be flippy.
It's flippy in all of the best ways, I feel.
We'll have to see.
I think that's like the two most flippy guys we actually admire the most on this podcast. It's like flippy isn't really what we go for too much, but yeah, this is good.
I mean, you admire Robbie X. I'm still not sold. We'll see.
Why are you not sold? Look at him.
Because there's no character stuff yet. There's no.
And
I am that's my thing, James. How long have you known me?
He is a blank canvas upon which you can broadcast the backstory of your choice. You're not thinking about this enough.
No, I am not interested. He's with Taiji Ishimori, who also doesn't really inspire any interest in me.
It's a bit of a problem, but there we go. Yes. Anywho, move on to the next match.
If he leaves Bullet Club and like joins, who is he joining?
Robbie X.
Oh no. What?
Sorry.
DX?
Robbie X or Ishimori? Who's where they
Robbie X. I was like, you're saying he's joining DX, and I was like, well, if he joins DX, I'll be really interested in what he's doing because that's magical somehow.
Yes. No. What I said was yes. Carry on.
This is a struggle. It's been how many minutes, and we're still stuck on the first match.
Oh yeah, but it's fun. This is what we do.
Anyway, I love Morishima. I am quite fond of Ninja Mac, though I'm curious what he's going to do, if he's actually New Japan, or if it's just they didn't have any background for him because he's no longer Noah. So they just stuck the New Japan logo there. And Robbie X, I think he'll join Ishimori in the whatever's happening with Bullet Club. Because I still don't buy Ishimori as a War Dog.
I mean, the most notable thing actually that Robbie X has done was stand next to Kid while he beats up Kenny Omega, because they were walking through the corridor together. And Kenny Omega actually mentioned him on AEW. You see Robbie X there, and there's and there's Gabe. It's like, wow, that was Robbie's just kind of like inserted himself into the biggest storyline of the year just by walking down the corridor at the right time, which is what you do, which is how you're supposed to get the job done. So yeah, Ninja Mac, I'm not sure if he's on a contract or a nightly deal, but one would assume he would have like had a long-term negotiation to do that, to get the New Japan logo behind his head.
I should DM him about it and get a scoop.
Are you on a nightly deal or are you on a contract? If it's not too rude to ask, bearing in mind, like
I won't. I won't. I had a conversation with someone about that because I was researching something, so I had to watch an old show from the New Japan Cup in 2023.
Yeah.
And it was a multi-man match, and I opened the match, and the English commentary starts talking about Evil versus Mark Davis. And I'm like, what? There is no Evil. There is no Mark Davis. Why is Evil's song playing? Strong Style are coming out. What the fresh hell is going on? And it took me a while to realize that they probably added the wrong commentary track to the match, which was funny, but also not the best. And I was talking to my friend about it, like, should I contact Charlton about this? Because I can technically DM him, even though he doesn't follow me. Should I tell him?
I've DM'd him before for reasons, so he was very polite.
So I ended up DMing him, like, hey, didn't know who else to contact about this, but this doesn't sound right. So he hasn't replied yet. But like, even before doing that, I had to discuss with someone like if it would be appropriate to DM him. So I'm definitely not DMing Ninja Mac about his contract. That's never happening.
No, I was only joking. I won't ask it.
Yeah,
Tangaloa was a 3-time IWGP Tag Team Champion before he got a full-time contract. They do drag it out.
The biggest star of the WWE.
Absolutely, truly is. Shall we move on to the next 6-man tag match?
Yes.
6 or 9, Masato Wato and Ryusuke Taguchi reunited at last. Every night. What? 6 or 9, not 619.
No, I just don't like Taguchi anywhere near Wato.
I'm sure Wato likes them too much, to be honest with you.
Wato is a gullible little child. He needs to grow. This is why Destiny was good for him.
Kevin Knight of your Time Splitters. They not Time Splitters, that's the wrong tag team. International Jet Setters, that's the one. They defeat Mao, Sharon Kato, and Tiger Mask in 7 minutes and 38 seconds. I did like the rock, paper, scissors to see who starts. I obviously Mao has come in with a lot of fanfare from DDT, missing King of DDT today to enter into this tournament, and he's one of the biggest draws in DDT, so it'll be interesting to see how he does in this, given that. I felt like he was kind of keeping his powder dry in this match, which is perfectly understandable. It's a 6-man tag team match. It doesn't feel like he was like going to go to full Mauness right now. And they were also losing in this match. It was 7 minutes, 38 seconds. They lost to Wato, Taguchi, and Knight. But a fun little match of good junior heavyweight flying aboutness, I thought. What did you think?
Yeah, I agree. I don't have a lot of comments about this. It was cute, it was fine, but it had Taguchi in it, so I was like, it had Shoma Kato in it, which is good because he's been gone. So welcome back, Shoma.
With a dramatic haircut, one has to say.
Yes. I hope you're fully healthy now.
Yes, he shaved the right-hand side of his head up to the temple, so he's kind of got a sweep over.
It's cool. I appreciate it.
Yes.
And then I like Mao. I like Master Wato. I am still not sold on Kevin Knight, which we'll have to see about during this tournament.
Is there any reason why you're not sold on Kevin Knight? Because I like him. I think he's good.
I mean, we've talked about this before. I love his in-ring stuff, but I don't always see the story to it. It sometimes still feels like he is waiting to do the big move. And I wouldn't know how to describe him as a character.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure he thinks about those things, and he doesn't need to think about those things because he's just amazing athletically. So
As being a regular on AEW television, I would assume he's going to have to think about those things more than he has done in the past.
yeah, and what
Um,
I've seen between him and Speeple has been
yeah.
fun. Like the bros, the relationship, the couple, whatever they are. I don't
Mm.
see too much. I just see tweets about it. But he doesn't feel that way here. And when he was partnered with Kushida, it always felt like, oh, this is mentor pupil, but they don't really do anything with it. It's just mentor pupil in name, not
Um,
like Zach was always teaching while he was at ringside, right?
yeah, yeah.
Just didn't feel like that. It just felt like a combination of convenience. Just I don't know. I see a lot of potential in him, and I appreciate all his athletics and stuff, but I've
Mm.
never had a match where I went, oh, that was a nice story. Except against like Desperado or Kanemaru, but then they always very heavily told the story like we're going to target your knee or whatever.
Yeah.
And then whenever he did have one of those big stories, he would always overcome the knee and do the crazy flips anyway. And I'm like, well, that's not really realistic now, is it? So
No.
yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Moving on to the only match involving heavyweight action, and boy, are they heavy in weight. Mariano and Yo defeated DMDK, Hartley Jackson, and Robbie Eagles. Robbie Eagles is somewhat upset with Yo for him and Master Wato defeating the Ichiban Sweet Boys for the IWGP Tag Team Junior Heavyweight Championships. Hartley Jackson is Hartley Jackson, and Toriano is indeed, and always will be, Toriano. The fun did ensue. It was alright. It was lovely. It was fun. It was just a cool piece of wrestling. I really enjoyed it. There was lots of kissing involved, which I'm sure Christy enjoyed more.
Yes. I was about to say, you said that Eagles was mad because of the tag loss. I mean,
Yes.
yes, of course, obviously. But in the backstage promos, he always also said, well, I didn't get my kiss, and now I'm mad. And then Yo shows up to give him a kiss.
Yeah.
And then he looks very happy, and it's like, yeah, that's all I wanted. And I'm like, this is so gay. Um,
I
and
have
the
got
entire,
I've got
yeah,
something to say about the PWA Soul Championship, which was pointed out in this match, and I'll talk about that after this match. But I'm just saying it now to remind myself.
okay,
Carry on.
okay. And the match was kind of gay in itself because there was like the touching each other and the kissing and the commentary. Because I need to cough. Just a second.
Yes, for those of you who don't know, we're on Discord now. We're no longer recording on Skype because we're not allowed, because Skype's not allowed anymore. So if you're going to hear clicking and clacking and stuff of us researching whilst we're trying to do things and coughing off camera and stuff, that's why this is happening. We're not intentionally doing it. We don't want to sound impressional, but we're just trying to figure out how things
I mean,
work.
we are a little.
We are a little unprofessional.
Anyway,
We haven't sworn yet.
about the give it time. About the commentary. Like Charlton is by himself at this point. He gets a partner later on. But he goes, I was distracted by how handsome Milano AT is. And then talks about how smitten Yano is with the O and like about all the kissing. And I was just sitting there like, well, New Japan is just upping their slash fanfiction. And I appreciate it. I think I appreciate it very much. I look forward to friend of the show, Hartley Jackson, getting in on it. To be honest.
You go.
No? He is also the
Eventually,
biggest.
possibly.
He is also the biggest junior I've ever seen, which is nice. He's like 2 juniors, 3 juniors, or Hartley Jackson.
Well, they're talking
No.
about like maybe next year he may make the cut if he loses 115 pounds.
No. I've seen people say they want him in the G1,
Yes.
and look, I would love to see Hartley wrestle lots of singles matches, but I don't think he can. I don't think he's physically able to. I don't want
He's
to be mean.
Oh, he's a tag team guy, and he's very, very good at being a tag team guy.
Yeah, I just worry that physically that would be way too much for someone like Hartley, and I don't want to be the spoil sport who tells these people, well, it's unlikely. I don't think he can do that many matches, singles matches in that short a time.
No,
But
unless he does the kind of like the Toriyano run, but they've kind of moved away from that. So yeah, so it's difficult to do. Yes, the PWA Soul Championship currently held by Robbie Eagles, which Yo was eyeing up and apparently is a bone of contention for their future wrestling somewhere either in Korakuen Hall apparently or in Australia. Do you know who the current PWA heavyweight champion is?
tell me.
Charlie Evans. No,
Oh.
a woman wrestler.
Yeah, I know who Charlie Evans is.
No, the listeners do not know who Charlie Evans is.
I am on Twitter.
Yes. So Charlie Evans recently won the PWA Heavyweight Championship. So the PWA Soul Championship used to be the women's championship in PWA, but they decided that, gendered wrestling is, passe and we shouldn't be doing that anymore. So Robbie Eagles is defending the former women's championship, while the heavyweight championship is currently held by a woman. But New Japan won't ever do intergender wrestling. Yet their main Australian partner organisation is entirely intergender wrestling. It just makes me smile.
Are cowards.
They are. Charlie Evans in the G1. Oh my god, she'd murder people. It'd be fantastic.
Yeah, I want Miyu Yamashita in the G1.
Miyu Yamashita, Charlie Evans, Millie McKenzie in the G1.
Yeah.
Flattening people.
They can have one of our top guys while they're gone. It's fine.
Hiro Hashimoto as well. And four. Just
yes.
like
four spots for the women. The rest can be dudes, I suppose.
Yeah. That'd be great.
We have to.
If we have to, yeah. Probably think it's
who are we sending to the promotions?
Speak to Sendai Girls. That sounds reasonable. Who else we got? Who else we say? So
Show can go somewhere. That would be funny.
Show to Stardom then.
I want to see Show bullied by an entire roster of women.
Show to Stardom. Despy to Sendai Girls. Pro Wrestling Eve gets
Hiromu.
Hiromu, yeah, he would fit in there, and PWA gets hey, Japan Sweet Boy, he can go.
But it would be funny if it's someone who's not been there before.
Francesco Acura, an Italian in Australia.
He'd probably have fun.
Yes, he'd be all right. But he's only allowed to wrestle women whilst he's down there.
Yes. He can be in a tag team, but the opponents all have to be women. So he can wrestle with a guy, just not against a guy.
Okay, yeah.
Non-binary people is fine.
Yes. Charlie Evans and Millie McKenzie and Medusa Complex are touring the UK again at the moment, and I think a tag team, I can't remember which company it was, and I just looked at them, and there's these two young boys, and I'm like, oh my god, the things they will do to them, we're sending them to their doom. Why would you do that to such nice-looking young men? Anyway, we'll see what happens, shall we? We're torturing these young boys. Right, where are we? So we should get back on track because we
were talking about getting even with the patriarchy.
Yes, we were. Absolutely.
Anyway,
vicious women's wrestling. Yes, TMDK take a loss against Toriano and Yo. Shall we move on to the tournament proper, or would you like to talk about Resurgence and the Naito BUSHI narrative of the week?
What do you think would be better? Do you want to end with discussion on that, or an actual?
I think we save BUSHI and Naito because that's the most fun bit, obviously, to the end.
Fun. Okay. Yes.
And we get Resurgence out the way because, as far as I can tell, there was only 2 matches worth watching.
Well, as far as I can tell, people hated it. I didn't watch anything. I just got online and I was like, oh, what is the? Just give me a second because I had a giggle when I saw this. Savvy shared it, I think. It was something from Reddit. Here we go. Someone made a Reddit thread about Resurgence, and they called it "Spoilers: Resurgence 2025 Results: the Americanization of New Japan Pro Wrestling by the bastard Rocky Romero."
That's a good title.
And I just quote tweeted it with, "Well, Resurgence was well received, I see." It's been like that the entire day. Oh, and then John, one of our friends, just replied to me saying that, saying historically bad show. And I thought the last 3 US shows were all at least okay. Boy, did that run end last night. I was like, oh.
My friend Robert on Blue Sky, who loves German wrestling and watches all sorts of historic German and Austrian wrestling, but is equally obsessed with modern wrestling, wrote, "I skipped the first 2 matches, pretty much hated the 8-man tag because Ghetto sucks and Anderson and Gallows are annoying as blank. Bucks did nothing, Kid and Finley and Connors had nothing to work with, but Ishii versus Millennium was pretty good." So like every time, a New Japan show that's not really a New Japan show.
The only good matches are predominantly either just New Japan people or women.
Yes, that's it. Thriller and Tomohiro Ishii was apparently very good, though you'd expect that to be. And the 3-way for the Strong Championship was also very good. But it did feel like, you know what, if we get a bunch of guys they might like and stick Mercedes Moné on top, we might make money. Guess what? You didn't. There we go.
You made money, just not as much you could get.
Possibly might not do next time is the issue, really, isn't it? It's just like,
oh, and I saw some people very mad that women's match was all lost. And I was like, well, at least you left happy, as in it was a good match.
Yeah.
I'm sure Goto and Zack was fine. I'm not saying it was a bad match, but people said that it felt like the Goto Shota match where it was unnecessary.
Yeah.
And there was no reason for it. So I get that. I get the why have this match when they've had better matches in Japan?
Yeah. And it's like people get mad at Mercedes Moné for no reason because she's a successful black woman. Sorry, they do.
Yep.
Don't get it. Honestly, don't. If you cannot understand Mercedes Moné is a generational wrestler, you really need to look at your position in life. But anywho, that's that really. So yeah, from what I understand, I completely forgot Goto versus Zack was on that card. That tells you how little kind of like it was in my brain until I was like, oh, it's on tonight, isn't it? But I'm going to watch Best of Super Juniors. And the other issue is nothing matters except Best of Super Juniors for the next month. So putting that on the same day as the first day of Best of Super Juniors seemed a bit counterproductive in a booking sense if I was them.
Yeah, I wonder if they were like, well, we'll put the one show on the one day and the other show on the other day, but they forgot that there's a time zone difference, so they're pretty much back to back.
An hour and a half apart, I think. Like I got up at 5 a.m. just as the women's match was finishing. I followed the tweets for the women's match and then had coffee, had breakfast, and the second show started. So it was like, oh, so yeah, just odd kind of thing to do. It kind of wastes Goto versus Zack, unless you kind of like want to drill home that Zack's no longer in the championship picture for a while, which is fair enough, I suppose.
Yeah, but that's not what's happened because it was a draw basically. So it was a double pin. So
I didn't know the result. I was like too busy trying to get
spoiler. Zack lost and it was a double pin.
Right.
So they can have, and that's what someone said. Well, oh, now I can see who beats Goto for the belt. And I was like, what? Zack beats Goto at Forbidden Door.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because you have a champion who is too popular to beat, right? So you would either need a very strong heel, preferably a young heel for the future, but they don't have that right now.
No.
Or you do it somewhere where whoever he loses to is very popular. And where is Zack most popular? In London.
Yeah. And yeah, and there's also the fact that less people in Japan are likely to watch it, so it's not going to have the same effect. It's the Bret Hart thing, isn't it? Like, you want to win the championship on Monday Night Raw, but you want to lose it on pay-per-view because less people see it.
Yeah, and it's a Forbidden Door show, so it's not just New Japan fans. It's a
No.
lot of AEW fans who won't
Yeah.
care either way, and if they don't care who wins, they might just choose like the Western dude, you know? They know. So on the one hand, I'm like, why would New Japan take the title from Goto considering how popular he is? And I feel like whoever beats him needs to be a future guy, a young guy. And as much as Zack is for the future, he's not a young guy. And I think
No.
this is one of those cases where beating Goto makes you, if you are a young guy, when it comes to this kind of reign. So if you have a,
I was going to say,
you have a,
carry on.
so if you have a very young heel, you can make him. This could be the beginning of his run as a heel, but who do you put in that position?
The only person who's really qualified is Finlay, but he's tied up elsewhere for reasons.
And Finlay's not a heel.
Not at the moment, he's not, no. He could be.
Yes, but then you've just turned him from heel to face, and the War Dogs are so popular, why would you turn them heel again? Very quickly?
Yeah. True, but it could also be that Zack gets it at Forbidden Door, and then... Is it Dominion? I'm trying to think of the dates. Well, King of Pro Wrestling.
Dominion is first, right?
Yeah, so King of Pro Wrestling would be the next big one after the G1 finishes, where Goto could get it back and run to the Tokyo Dome with it then. So there is possibilities of you doing that. And he could just get... Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. You're absolutely right. They're making too much money with him as champion.
Yeah, but the thing is, the only thing that has me going, well, maybe they will do the Zack thing, is that Goto was not the plan, right? Goto is a happy coincidence. It just worked out this way, and he happens to be shockingly popular. But that's not the plan they initially had. And knowing New Japan, they will want to get back to the plan they originally had. So if they want to get back on track and do it in a way that will least offend the Japanese fan base, then doing it this way, having Zack beat him, could be the way. Or Shingo. Shingo is a pretty safe bet too.
Safe pair of runs, really.
My only issue with Shingo is that he's Goto's generation.
And also, the other thing is, I know he's kind of like a generational star and he can kind of like fit into any position, but it's only 2 shows ago he lost to Drill Maloney in 10 minutes. That gives me concern.
Yeah, but I feel like he's getting a heel turn. So that feels like a separate character immediately.
Yeah.
Everything with Shota just felt like, I know people were very focused. Oh, he's angry because of the monkey tweet, right?
Yeah.
Shingo was just acting heelish. He was rude to Shota. He was mean to Shota. He was violent to Shota, and all the comments online were kind of rude. And not just to Shota, because he was mean towards Lij as well. Like, one of his tweets was, well, why did no one tell me Naito and Bushi were leaving? Or, why didn't Bushi stop Naito from leaving? Or, him pinning whoever it was in Naito's final match. Instead of allowing Naito or Bushi to do the pinning. Then afterwards on Twitter going, whoops, I should have probably read the room better. I was like, that's all very on the precipice of going heel, right? That's teetering on the edge of heeldom. Yeah.
We'll have to see what happens with him, because that's the next big issue to talk about. We can talk about that when we get to Hiromu, I feel.
Yes.
Shall we move on to the tournament itself? Nick Wayne.
Actual matches.
Actual matches that have concern. Nick Wayne making his New Japan Pro Wrestling debut. A man who turned his back on his father's legacy. He was adopted by Christian to destroy his past, to honor his new father. course, his mother was seduced by the most awful man in pro wrestling history. Was, of course, a babyface in this match because he was wrestling Show. Show offered him a towel, which had an embarrassing message on it, to use as a distraction to set this match off in true comedy heel fashion. However, it didn't do much good. 10 minutes and 43 seconds. Nick Wayne got to show out a little bit here. He's a very good technical wrestler, and I should do well in this tournament. But he's an AEW heel, and he's in the Blake Christian position of last year, in the sense he's a heel in AEW, except for the fact he's way better than Blake Christian and nowhere near as bland. He's in the position of he's a heel in AEW, but he's not kind of anywhere here because the Japanese fans, God bless them, don't know who he is yet. So I guess we'll figure this out as we go. What's your thoughts on this one?
I laughed about that too. The whole he's supposed to be a heel and he's instantly a face here just because he's facing House of Torture.
Yes.
But I think last time we had this situation, they got the House of Torture match out of the way first as well. I think maybe with Blake Christian, and that he had Kanemaru first or something. I don't know. Yes. It's just they keep doing this. And it makes sense because no one knows who he is yet, so they don't have any perceived idea who he is. So get the match out of the way first, and then he can just show who he is. No pun intended. But it's just funny to have this guy who I know is a heel, and not because I watch AEW, because I follow people who watch AEW. And New Japan and the New Japan fandom are like, AEW is an alternate universe. No idea what happens there. This guy's a face now. And he kind of looks like a face. Like here you've got this 19-year-old, right? Like we talk about how young Fujita and Callum are, and then here comes this 19-year-old in the sparkly, shiny pink gear. And he's like getting messed with by the bully that is Sho, who is taking advantage of the fact that he doesn't understand Japanese and wants to be liked by this new crowd. And it's like, this is so heel versus face. And then the next match, he's probably going to turn heel and be a dick. And it's just really funny.
Should of course point out Kevin Knight joined us on commentary with your Chris Charlton there. I thought he was very good.
Oh,
I didn't think he was very good.
No.
I thought it was alright.
I tuned him out at some point. I was like,
okay.
Nah.
Alright then. I liked
Did you want to talk about the commentary? He's fine. He's harmless. He's not like.
It's not. Yeah. He doesn't... Look, we're dealing with a very low bar here. Let's be honest. The fact that he didn't come out to be openly sexist is a usually good sign.
No, it's fine. He's not Jeff Cobb, but he was also pretty monotone and didn't sound very excited. And most of his comments were random one-liners instead of, responding to what was happening, telling a story, helping the people in the match tell their story, or just responding to what Charlton was saying and bouncing off of that. I think maybe he was a bit insecure and a bit unsure yet because he hasn't done this a lot. I don't know. And I feel bad because I like him for the most part. There are some things about his character that just don't scream character to me. They scream, this is who he is in real life.
Right.
Which is nice, but I am the character person. I like outrageous personalities, so...
I will say, generally speaking, the most successful characters in pro wrestling tend to be ones based on the character of the guy, because it's not, or the girl, because it's not so much of a stretch.
I understand, but like, my favorites are Hiromu and Desperado. And I like our show, and like, I mean, I like out there characters.
With Hiromu though, that is literally him. It's not that far away from him.
Really, no. I mean, I'm sure there's parts of him there, but like, he's not that crazy. He just plays it up.
Okay.
Anyway. I don't want to be negative about Kevin because I feel like he's going to grow on me. It's just I feel the same as I did last Best of Super Juniors, and is that I'm curious and I want to see where he goes, but he hasn't. Apart from the wrestling itself, and this is going to sound very, very weird, he's done nothing to impress me. Like the wrestling, A plus, the moves, A plus, but the storytelling with the wrestling and the storytelling as a character, not sure yet.
This is where we depart as wrestling fans, because for that reason is why I enjoy him so much. But there we go.
Also the reason why I don't like Robbie X that much.
Yeah, because he's awesome in the ring, and I don't care about the other stuff, so it doesn't matter so much to me. But there you go.
I think Robbie X will be similar in commentary too. But anyway, yeah.
You're going to hear my accent on commentary. That's going to weird you out completely. Anywho, shall we? Let's move on to the next matchup.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you would like to say? No. No? Yeah? What? Hey?
I know I answered your question. Do you have anything else to say? So I went, no.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, I just said Uncle Nobby and you went, no.
No, because I answered your question. By the time I went to answer it, you'd already continued. So I was like,
oh, okay. So, all right then. It was bad timing on my part, I assume.
Dragon Daya.
Yeah, Dragon Daya. Yoshinobu Kanemaru lost to Dragon Daya. Already improved on his best starts to best of Super Juniors with a win over the wily veteran, the wiliest of all veterans. 10 minutes and 51 seconds. You know I play the game, Is This a Good Guy or Is This a Bad Guy? With my after-school music group on a Thursday. I did a Best of Super Juniors special the other week, and I did all of the juniors, and they instantly guessed that Kanemaru was a bad guy just listening to his theme tune. Some of them go like, oh, it could be a good guy, but they trick us. They sometimes trick us by making it like really dramatic and loud, and it turns out he's a good guy. And then they listen to Kanemaru, no, he's a bad guy. It's like straight away. No,
I thought you were going to. I thought you were going to say I listened to Dragon Daya's theme song and I thought he was a bad guy.
No, I haven't played him Dragon Daya's theme song. I might do. This week we had I did it all in Spanish and we had a luchador special. It was really cool because I got to tell it to explain Rudos and Technicos to them in a music lesson. Anywho, Dragon Daya versus Yoshinobu Kanemaru. Nice little story of Kanemaru trying to cripple the young man from Dragon Gate in the most violent way possible. How did you feel about this?
Yeah, well, Kanemaru never saw a knee he didn't want to take home, so.
Yes. Yes.
It was lovely. I loved this match. I am just a very basic person. Give me despicable heel versus purest babyface on the planet, and I am happy. It's just lovely. I love Dragon Daya. I know that Dragon Gate fans are concerned, but I think he'll do better this year than last year.
This is like a 3-year deal, I think. Don't worry, in year 3 he's going to be amazing.
And considering what's happening in Dragon Gate right now, I think he's happy to have a break from all the bullshit there. So, he's like, oh, this is fine. I'm getting tortured by Kanemaru, but at least I'm not getting stabbed or thrown down a cage or hit with someone's really big ass. So, whatever. This is preferable. Though this match did have the one comment from commentary that seemed is a prime example of what I mean about Kevin Knight. Because at some point Charlton starts talking about Dragon Daya's legacy, right, and who trained him, and then he goes, talking about someone inspired by Dragon Kid. Let's give a shout out to Mentai Kid, who is retiring today. And then Kevin Knight goes, shout out to Dragon Kid. And I was like, were you listening?
Possibly not. No.
Were you just waiting for your time to talk? And you got spooked because you're supposed to respond there. I had a giggle about that because it was like, it reminds me of, I don't know which show it was, but it was a similar situation, and someone goes, well, Jeremy has died. Let's ask Frank about it. And he goes, Frank has died? No, you've been listening. I don't know, it made me laugh. It was
fair enough. Yes. Anything else you'd like to add?
No. I can't wait to see Dragon Dia wrestle people that don't want to kill him. So
Yeah,
because then he gets to do a bit more. But I love the heel versus babyface dynamic, so it's a win for me either way. Doesn't matter.
absolutely. Yes. Next up, two of your favorites. Kosei Fujita defeated Francesco Acca in 12 minutes and 3 seconds in another blockade match. Was exactly what you thought it would be. It was the two hottest young stars on the rise in the division trying to sort out their bragging rights over each other. And it turned out to be an exceptionally good match. In fact, this first night was pretty loaded because you kind of have the opposite end of the spectrum in the final three matches. Hiromu Takahashi and Kushida being the two big veterans of this particular division, having another kind of long-term rivalry match. Fujita and Akira kind of feels like where Hiromu and Kushida were 6 years ago, if you see what I mean. They're kind of established, but they're still a little bit away from where they need to be. And then, of course, you had another generational match with El Desperado and Titan in the main event. But let's go back to Kosei Fujita and Francesco Akira. Really good wrestling. They can't have a bad wrestling match, these two. They know what they're doing, and they have a story to tell, which is like, got to get ahead. Today's the day. Now's the time. Especially Fujita, who's kind of on the clock to become the next ace of this division. So, yeah, there's a lot of pressure involved in this match, but it was really, really well done. I thoroughly enjoyed this. What did you think of it, Christy?
Well, first of all, I want to comment on what you said about the next three matches. To me, it feels like you had the rivalry from the past, Shida Hiromu. You've got the rivalry that is currently going, Titan El Desperado. And then you've got the rivalry of the future, Akira versus Fujita.
Yeah.
It just felt that way to me. Like you've got the future foreign ace of the division and then the future Japanese ace of the division. Once Wato says he's done, because Wato is the future ace. Sorry, Fujita, you have to wait. I am still, he is my boy. I love Fujita a lot, but he has to wait. Patience is a virtue. Anyway, the match itself was glorious. You said two of your favorite guys. Yeah, that's the first line of my commentary. Oh, these are two of my favorite guys.
Yeah.
I was so excited to see this. It was so good. I love the fire between them. I love that they have this fire and ice kind of thing. Like Akira is all energy and all emotion, whereas Fujita is a bit cooler and he thinks he's so cool and awesome and he acts so confident. I love that. I love the contrast there where Akira looks seconds away from exploding and Fujita always pretends that nothing can harm him, even though he has a tiny little heart, which is very insecure sometimes. It's like it's the best thing ever. And I thought it was very interesting that Fujita won. Because Akira is his senior in many ways, right? And he's had really big matches, and Fujita just dropped the tag title belts, and it's like, well, is there a reason? Are they going to tease us with a big Fujita run? Is he going to win like the first four and then lose the rest? It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
I am a little
I was going to say,
you want to go first? Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say he's got to have an impressive run. He's clearly the rising star. Certainly, he's not saying that Akira isn't a rising star, but you know what I mean. He's the one that's a little bit behind. So they've got to give him the run. It's a bit like even more last year in the G1 before he had his injury. He had the hot streak, and Fujita on a hot streak would be enough to keep him boiling, if you see what I mean. He doesn't have to win the tournament. He just has to do better than he did last year. And fizzling out because he hasn't got the stamina is a good story to tell for a young wrestler.
Yeah, I agree. But I feel like New Japan has a very common way of doing this. And like the first as a Super Junior that a new guy is in, he does terribly. Right? And then the next one, he gets a decent score. And the same was with Yuya. Like Yuya had a decent score in the G1. He had great matches. Like, he had standout matches, but the score was okay. It wasn't top of the block or whatever. And I feel like Fujita is in that year now, where he's going to have a decent showing. He'll probably end like 6 something.
Yeah.
Whereas Akira seemed to have that showing last year, except it got cut short by injury. We were like, well, maybe he'll end up in the semi-final because of the whole TJP and Despy thing, right? But then injury stopped it. So it makes me curious what they're going to do. Is this the third year, or aren't they going to try and backtrack a bit for Akira? I'm curious.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
Because things are afoot, so New Japan is forced to do a lot of things that they maybe hadn't planned. So we'll see.
Yes, that's the thing. We've definitely got to see what happens. Next up is Hiromu Takahashi and Kushida. And as Chris Charlton stressed on commentary, this was kind of more of a war of attrition than either of them have produced in the past. If you even go back to last year's matches that they had together in Best of Super Juniors, Kushida was out the gun at Takahashi, which was always the reverse. Takahashi was always the one out the gun at Kushida. Whereas this year, Kushida was out the gun again. It kind of slowed down into a submission-style battle. There was still some Hiromu craziness, but it was a maturity from Hiromu, a kind of more measured approach, which he's filtered into his junior heavyweight wrestling. In having watched him against heavyweights for a lot of this year, he doesn't really do that in his heavyweight matches because he's too small and he can't. So watching him go back to the juniors and come back with a completely kind of different approach was a really interesting watch. And they still put in a thriller, even though they weren't really taking a massive amount of risks in this. There were some big spots in it, but nothing particularly dangerous. And they still had the crowd on the edge of the seat, which shows you, A, their star power, but also their wrestling ability is absolutely top-notch. And they're still the two best, maybe of the 3 or 4 guys at the top of this division. They're still the best actual in-ring workers who can make a match work for whatever they need it to do. So this one, Hiromu takes the win. Kushida last year kind of bolted out the gate with like 4 wins on a trot. He's not going to do that this year, but this was an exceptionally strong performance from him as well. What did you think of this one?
Yeah, I feel like Kushida last year benefited from that he was second replacement and that he was replacing Yo.
Yeah.
I don't think he was supposed to get that many points, but regardless, this match.
Well, I mean, he got absolutely slaughtered in the previous year's tournament where he only won 2 matches, so it was a little bit of a payback.
No, I'm convinced he just got Yo's booking because Yo was. You're laughing. I'm serious. I think.
No, you're serious. I know you've talked about this before. I was just laughing because we're having a good time.
Oh, okay. I was like, oh, you're thinking I'm joking. No.
No.
Yeah.
Just genuinely enjoy talking to you, and I miss talking to you. There you
good.
Go.
That's nice.
Yeah. Yes, that's it. You make me smile.
Anyway, match.
Doing this podcast. Yes, match. Let's talk business.
Most of the time I do too, unless we have to talk about Shota Umino. Anyway, no Shota Umino on the show. I love this match. It brought back a lot of memories. It was interesting to me that the roles have reversed since I've been watching, because when I started watching, Kushida bullied Hiromu Takahashi for 90% of the match, even the ones Hiromu won. Yeah. And this time it's the other way around. Hiromu is the one who gets Kushida to zap. Hiromu is the one who gets him to break. Hiromu is the one who, talking about breaking, is the one who uses a code breaker, which might have been a Bushi reference. And Hiromu is the one who ends up winning. And years ago, that would have been Kushida. And I like getting these, historical matches years after they've been at their peak, and seeing that things have changed, times have changed, and it's now Hiromu in Kushida's position, which is sad, nice, but.
Well, I mean, I like the fact that Kevin Knight went to go and check on Kushida, and it kind of cements Kushida as the tag team guy. He's an exceptional tag team guy, don't get me wrong. And if you want to go see some exceptional tag team matches, go watch Kevin Knight and Kushida in Maple Leaf Wrestling, because they've been doing some fantastic work over there. but it kind of like puts him in his place of it also kind of puts in place of like, yeah, you're kind of Kevin Knight's guy now, as opposed to Kevin Knight being your guy, if that makes sense. It was kind of a bit of a switch of positions for Kushida, and he seems happy enough with those positions. That's fine, because he's got the job in the company he loves working for. So, which was a touch and go proposition for a very long while. So yeah, I agree with you. It's interesting how he's found his place in the company and seems to be enjoying his wrestling again and doing great work, even though he's not in the thick of it like he used to be.
Yeah, it kind of feels fitting. I don't know if this is just an emotional memory thing where I find it fitting that Kushida's on the way, not the way out, but the way out of the scene he always used to be in, just as Tanahashi's retiring. Because those two always felt so connected to me. Because whenever Tanahashi was the ace of the heavyweight division, Kushida was the ace of the junior division. And they were best friends and stuff. So, kind of feels fitting, I don't know. And Hiromu being the ace of the junior division, while Naito is pretty much the ace of the heavyweight division, always also felt fitting. So I'm curious to see who the equivalents for the next generation are going to be.
Yes, and that leads us to the main event. This is the thing, and watching this match, it wasn't so much the match which was excellent, because it's Titan El Desperado, and they can't help but be exceptionally good. When you look back like 18 months ago, where Desperado was kind of like on his rise to dominance in the junior heavyweight division, and he was the uncomfortable star of the division, and just the way he handled himself after this match and what he said to Titan and what he said on the microphone, he was a genuine babyface. He was happy in his position and happy as essentially the ace of the division at the moment. Because he's happy being in Hontai, and he's been the guy Hontai have used to negotiate with all of the new incomers. He's been the guy who's like, "Hey, I came from Suzuki Gun, and look at me, and I'm in Hontai." It's interesting to me that, from a character point of view, he's no longer fighting with himself to figure out where he is in the world. He's the ace of the division in many respects, and he's kind of got comfortable with that. And that's an interesting growth pattern. As you look at the scar tissue on his back from all the death matches he's had recently, which, of course, he and Titan are both purveyors of the barbed wire. So this was an interesting match to watch them wrestle in their given styles of pure wrestling, which is just lovely to watch because they are so closely matched and they come from such a similar background, but just two entirely different wrestling cultures. So this was fantastic. Absolutely loved it. And a great example of what modern New Japan Pro Wrestling, Junior Heavyweight Wrestling is about. And I think that's really what they needed to do to showcase this division on the first night of the tournament. And Desperado and Titan rose to the occasion. And of course, Titan and Hiromu were announced as no affiliation. They are not members of Hontai. They are not. I mean, maybe Titan has kind of just like the member of CMLL roster now, but Hiromu has specifically said he's not affiliated with anyone yet. So we'll see how that develops. What's your thoughts on that and this particular match?
I'll talk about the match first, and then we'll get to affiliations. Really good match. I think this might have been my favorite match of the card. These two have so much chemistry. There's so much. Their styles aren't the same, but they align. They match each other really well. And Desperado is such a good base for a guy like Titan. He can keep up, but he can also take a lot of his shit. They are guys who give you a scare. Like, they gave me a good scare here or there, but that's like part of Best of Super Juniors. That's part of these matches. That's why they take away the railing and stuff. And it was just a great main event. I'm so happy that Despy seems, or at least seems, close to fully healthy.
Yeah.
And I'm just so excited to see what he does, because he always goes all out in Best of Super Juniors, and he doesn't just go all out for himself, he goes all out for his opponents, and he makes some people. And I love this match. I love El Desperado. He's so good. And the affiliation thing is just I don't think it's going to be Best of Super Juniors where we find out anything.
No, I don't either.
I think Shingo is the one who is going to do something first, and that might end up causing a ripple effect for the other former LIJ members.
Mm-hmm.
And regarding Despy affiliation, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little mini Hontai faction with Taichi somewhere, because Taichi is doing shit too. It's not during this tour, but he's been doing shit during the last tour, and he's like ingratiating himself with Tanahashi and doing videos with Yano and Tanahashi and Yuya, and I wouldn't be surprised because the Hontai is so big right now. And if you add the LIJ members to it, like, yes, they're unaffiliated, but Hontai is like the catch-all if you don't have anywhere to go. That makes you part of Hontai.
Yeah.
So something has to give, and it needs to happen. And I wonder if it's going to happen at like Dominion or the G1. But something needs to happen. And I feel like that Desperado worked so well in a little faction that I might as well add him to something because he is perfect for the young guys to learn from.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting, like Taichi has been tagging with Ishii, and they've got a shot at the tag team title soon as well. So they're kind of like mixing and matching, seeing who fits together and what works.
And Taichi's been very supportive of Shota as well in the matches that they've both been in. And it wouldn't surprise me if that's like a little faction that happens. Like Taichi, Despy, Shota, maybe ELP.
Yeah.
Because that feels like they feel Hontai, but they're also removed from Hontai. They're not grown in Shota is, but like Taichi and even Ishii, not homegrown.
No, true.
Which makes it nice that Taichi is there. Because Ishii, as part of Chaos, always felt kind of accepted by New Japan, right? Chaos is not Hontai, but it's Hontai adjacent. It has been for a very long time, even when it wasn't officially so. But it was always like the defenders of New Japan.
Yeah.
Which Hontai is also. But Taichi, for the longest time, has been either anti-New Japan in Suzuki-kun, or still removed from New Japan as just 5 guys. He's been like the longest one who had to wait for acceptance. Because even Desperado got accepted into Hontai. Even Suzuki got accepted into Hontai before Taichi did. It's like, what the hell?
Yeah, kinda.
You know what I mean. Like, Strong Style was teaming with Hontai for a bit there. I was watching a show from New Japan Cup. Like I said, did I talk?
Yes, you've still got yeah.
I'm confused what we said before and during the
2023 New Japan Cup. You were doing some research. Yes.
And it was Strong Style with Shota Umino versus Bullet Club. And it was such a thing, like Suzuki and Desperado, Ren Narita, and Shota Umino. And they didn't look weird. Because at that time, they were working together. It's just wild. Anyway, I'm curious. The whole Naito and Bushi leaving thing, we are going to talk about it in a bit, but it's scary, but it's also very exciting. Because I can't see what they're going to do. Normally I can kind of guess what New Japan is going to do. But I have no idea. I can't see a clear future.
It does feel like it feels like Nakamura taking over GBH and turning it into Chaos. It feels kind of like something dramatic has to happen, or the birth of Bullet Club. It feels like it's one of them things that's just got to go on, because there's just Hontai's just so strong. There's just too many of them. Because you've busted up all factions except for Bullet Club and United Empire. Now my LIJ's gone as well. So, there's 3 now, I suppose. House of Touch are their own thing now, aren't they? So, 3 factions and Hontai, that ain't enough. TMDK, 4 factions and Hontai, Look how many factions there are in DDT. There's about 14. So yeah, you've kind of got to balance things out a little bit more. And heel and facedom in New Japan Pro Wrestling is a spectrum, and you've kind of got to work along that spectrum and fill in those gaps on that spectrum. So we need some more
I
grey.
agree, but we need some more towards the heel end of the spectrum.
Yes, oh, definitely.
We've got House of
very
Torture,
dark grey.
and that's it. We've got House of Torture, and that's the only heels we have, because even War Dogs are now edging towards face.
Yes, the United Empire faces on depends on what day of the week it is, who they're wrestling.
Yeah, in my eyes, United Empire needs to go heel, and we need another heel faction, and that can either be like Shingo led, or Hiromu led, or heaven forbid Shota Umino led. But we need another faction, and you can add Youngblood to them, but something needs to give. We need more heels. Yeah. Especially because I feel like House of Torture are so popular that they are bound to turn face at some point, right?
Yeah, and you need to have some...
We need someone to replace them.
This is the issue, and generally speaking, in wrestling history, wherever you are, and whatever historical phase you are, and wherever you are in pro wrestling geographically, a company is only as good as its heels. Back in the day in British wrestling, there was more baby faces than there were heels. But the heels were ridiculously over, so you didn't have to worry about that. That they were the ones making the big money. Hulk Hogan would have been nowhere near as successful if he hadn't had a line of monster heels to show he had to vanquish them. Whichever way you go about it, you've got to kind of have heels to make the money. That's how it works. And if there isn't enough heels, then you don't make any money. Because as much as, I love pure wrestling, and I'm quite happy not to have storylines. However, I understand the company has to make a living, and you have to pay all these wrestlers and pay for fees and stuff. And to do that, you need top draw heels, and it's something we've struggled with, I think.
Yeah, if we look at the factions right now, right? I asked someone who now that LIJ is gone, is the top faction, is the most popular faction. House of Torture. House of Torture sell the most merch now. Yeah. LIJ is gone.
Yeah, exactly.
So your one heel faction is the most popular faction in the company.
Yeah.
We need heels.
Yeah, they do. They absolutely
need
do.
them.
And they need threatening heels as much as, House of Torture work the socks off. But they're not threatening. They're a bit rubbish.
I feel like they are getting a bit more threatening, though. Like the cage match, I feel like felt more violent than they've been in a while.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't surprise me if that's where we're heading, because the first sign of face turn from a heel faction is they go from cowardly to violent. Because violent is more popular with the fans. And if you need popular top guys, then you turn your favorite faction towards face. But then we need heels. We need more heels.
There you go.
We can't turn evil face unless he's replaced by someone.
Speaking of evil heels, did you see the historical... I did send you the historical commentary job this week that has been working on for the New Japan Archive? You didn't.
What do you think? Do you think I listened?
No, I sent you it. I literally sent you it, there was the final of the World League in, I think it was 1976, was Antonio Inoki versus Seiki Saguchi and Killer Carl Krupp.
Oh, yeah, but I didn't open it. I thought you were talking about the name, so I googled the name person.
Yeah.
I didn't open the actual link.
Didn't open the link. Didn't see the GIF that they put on there. There you go, Killer Carl Krupp, the one Dutch wrestler who's wrestled for New Japan Pro Wrestling. I thought you'd be interested.
I did. I had a look and I was like, well, those initials are unfortunate.
Yeah, because he's pretending to be German.
If that was intentional. Yeah.
Anyway, yes, because because he had in Canada when me and Anna watched that show. Obviously, he was top heel in the Maritimes, and he had another tag team partner who looked just like him, who was supposed to be a communist. And it's like, you're from Moncton, aren't you? So yes, yeah. I don't think that. I think it was for the sonority of Killer Carl Krupp. The way it rhymed and stuff rolled off the tongue, as it were, not the unfortunate an acronym of his name. Anywho, we best talk about Tetsuya Naito and BUSHI leaving New Japan Pro Wrestling. You heard me and Marcus talk about this last week, and we've had a week of interviews that have gone out into the Western wrestling press. Terrible.
Yes.
Mainly because of the person doing it who should remain nameless.
Yeah.
Land a career interview and make it about yourself. What were you thinking? Anywho,
I hope he paid them so much money.
If it's an interview, you're not supposed to pay people, and if you did, that's really bad for the pro wrestling journalism industry.
I hope they got paid so much to do that bullshit.
Yeah, I hope they did, but it is like, don't do that. Don't pay people to get interviews. That's not how this works. Anywho, yes, Bushi and Tetsuya Naito have left New Japan Pro Wrestling. It's been a week. Naito has gone and got surgery on his eye and is resting up. An open door on where they're going to go, on what they're going to do.
Bushi got surgery.
Yes, Bushi got surgery as well, didn't he?
Yes, sorry. I just feel bad for Bushi, so I'm just going to, because I've listened to podcasts that have talked about this news, and it'll be like 30 minutes on Naito leaving and the effects of Naito leaving, and then an afterword of, and Bushi left too, I guess. And I'm like, no, that's disrespectful as fuck, and you will talk about Bushi. So I'm going to force us to talk about Bushi first.
Can I point out that me and Marcus did talk about Bushi because I made sure we did.
Thank you.
Yes, there you go. Carry on.
No, I just wanted to talk about Bushi because I feel bad for him because he's always second to Naito, right? Yeah, whenever he does something, it's probably with Naito, and he never gets talked about. And even in New Japan, he was the guy who took most of the pins. He was he never respected, even though during LIJ's heyday, he was very popular and very over, and he probably should have won the junior title a couple of more times. So I just wanted to talk about him because I know the joke is, Bushi takes the pin and he doesn't care, T-shirt Bushi, right? But he did have a very big influence on the junior division. I remember the matches with Kushida. I remember all of the serious stuff. And this is a guy who broke his back, right? For wrestling, and then got back and did it again anyway.
Yeah.
I feel like people are a bit too denigrating towards him. Like, it's just Bushi. Who cares about Bushi? Yeah. Considering he's a human being who put this much effort and these many years into entertaining us. And just because he's Naito's sidekick, they don't care.
No. It's there's a very serious point in the West Wing where Connor Moss, who's Josh Lyman's assistant, says, I realized I'm going to be an also dead. And Josh goes, what do you mean? He said, if I go in a plane crash and I'm sat next to you, there's going to be a big story about Josh Lyman. And then it's obviously going to also dead Donatello Moss. You are the White House Deputy Chief of Staff and I'm just your assistant. And that's kind of like the thing that's happened with Bushi when he actually is far more important to pro wrestling than you think, because he's one of those guys. He's a glue guy. He's a guy that puts everything together. All of those entertaining 6-man tag team matches and the 8-man and 10-man tag team matches you've seen with LIJ over the last decade, Bushi has been a major part of those, as well as being a major part of the New Japan Junior Heavyweight division, And especially for a guy who broke the mold, because he was an All Japan guy. He wasn't a New Japan guy. He came in and won the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. How many All Japan guys have gone to New Japan and won the Junior Heavyweight Championship? Not many. He is an astoundingly good wrestler and is an astoundingly good ring general and knows the wrestling industry inside out. And there's a very good reason why he's good friends with Tetsuya Naito. So we'll see what happens, won't we?
I mean, yeah, and the reason Hiromu is as Jesus, this sentence. The reason Hiromu is as successful as he is now is because Bushi played the role of the lesser junior in their faction, right? Hiromu didn't take the pin; it was Bushi, which is why he felt like such a serious deal. Because Hiromu very rarely took the pin, and the heavyweights didn't have to take the pin, right? Bushi was there.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I mean, it's funny to be, oh, Bushi gets pinned again, like one more for the road. But at the same time, you need those guys. You can't be a top guy if you have no one who loses. Because then you have to lose.
And if you want to see how good he is, when El Lindemann was the GLEAT G-Rex champion, Bushi went to GLEAT to challenge for that title and had a knockout match with Lindemann. Fantastic match with Lindemann. And Lindemann is one of the best workers in the world. But it wasn't Lindemann that did all the work. Bushi was incredible in that match. And it was a proper 25-minute main event. You can go find it on GLEAT's YouTube now. You should. Because he is a mid-event level wrestler. Just because he wasn't put in a main event level position doesn't mean he's a great wrestler. You know, how many guys on football teams in the third division make a perfectly good living? You need them.
Yeah, you know. and then there's the added fact that he's probably the reason LIJ worked so well, because Naito has in the past said that Bushi is like the mother of the group who kept everyone sane. Yeah. And the reason that Naito probably lasted as long as he did is because he had Bushi there. And like fans joke about them being like work husbands, but Bushi was what kept Naito going.
Yeah.
He made sure he was on time everywhere. He made sure that he did this and that, and don't remember to do that. And what would New Japan have been without Naito? Like Bushi is so much more instrumental than people remember.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, there's precedents with guys like that. Jim Ross wanted Mick Foley in the WWE in the mid-1990s because he was a mature guy and he had a bunch of young guys in his stable and he wanted someone to center them. He wanted someone who worked the road, who knew how hard life could be, who was sensible, who was a good example to the rest of the roster on how to project yourself as a pro wrestler. So he hired Mick Foley. And that worked out pretty well, didn't it? You know, because he was a guy who was there to kind of like put a center on that locker room and make them like more responsible. He wasn't necessarily hired because he was a great wrestler, but he was a great wrestler. And Bushi was in kind of very similar position of he was hired because he was a possible future star from All Japan Pro Wrestling, but he found this role for himself in the company and probably lasted longer than perhaps he would have done if he'd just been a top guy for 3 or 4 years and then slowly faded down the card. Whereas he found a role for himself, didn't he?
Yeah, and I feel like Bushi doesn't need wrestling. He seems, considering the stuff he wears, like Louis Vuitton all day long, I don't think he needs money.
No.
So that means he's doing it for the people he's with or because he loves wrestling. And I think the people he was with is a big reason why he stayed that long. Because he's in good shape. Like, for someone who broke his back, he said in interviews, I could still go for years. I'm fine physically. He's not Naito. But he chose to leave because of his relationship with Naito. And I think that's it's sweet in a way. Ride or die. She takes it to the extreme. It's just such a lovely, I don't know, it's bittersweet, this ending for them, because on the one hand I'm so sad to see them leaving, but on the other hand it's just a confirmation of what clearly is a beautiful friendship. Like, imagine your friend. You have just signed, because this is what was said. Bushi just signed a new contract, right?
Yeah.
And then your friend says, "Oh, but I don't think I'm going to sign a new contract." So you're basically stuck for how many years Bushi's contract was supposed to be. But you're like, "Well, I can't do that. I can't be here without you." So you go to the company. "Please, can I leave? Because Naito is leaving." And they say, "Okay, yes." Like, even New Japan was like, "We can't force Bushi to stay because he's not going to. We can't separate them." It's like, it's a beautiful story. It's very bittersweet, but it's cute.
It shows the professional respect and friendship between the two. Sure. We still are none the wiser as to where they're going next. I'm still saying Noah. It seems to be the obvious place for some one-off matches, but I think they want some rest first, and that's reasonable. They'll come back when it'll make the most impact, I think.
I have thoughts. I don't know. This is based on feelings. It could be a case of Naito either wants to create something completely new for himself, like a little promotion that does produce shows or whatever. Or he goes to Noah after surgery, or it's a case where he just needed a break from New Japan, and once he feels capable enough, he goes back to New Japan with a deal. Like, "You give me this money, I will come back. I am physically better now." He hopes that by that time New Japan knows what they're missing. And he makes a lot of money doing a select amount of shows for New Japan.
I think that's the thing. Is like, this feels like Fujiwara in '93. Yoshiaki Fujiwara, who him of the Fujiwara Allen Bar, came back to New Japan Pro Wrestling, essentially because his own promotion wasn't making much money and everybody left. And he came back to do some big matches, and he wrestled Masachono and Keiji Muto and some big dome matches, and kind of that was his swan song with the company. And it feels the same with Naito. He can have some big matches. He could do some big matches for Noya. Noya. I'm doing this again. I'm not pronouncing Noah properly, and I don't know why. Noya. Sorry, Stu. Noah.
This is like the people who pronounce Naito as Niter. Niter.
This is the reason why, like, American publishers didn't want to call Japanese anime when they were released in the States, so they started calling it Japanimation. They were afraid that American fans wouldn't understand that they don't have hard vowels in Japan, so therefore it would be pronounced as anime.
Anime.
Yes.
Anime.
Yeah, so they came up with the idea of Japanimation, which went down well, as you can tell, because no one uses it. Yeah, everyone just went, "No, it's anime." Anywho, yes. Yeah, we'll have to see. I kind of feel Noah might be there's some big matches in Noah he could have, and then go back to New Japan when he's good and ready. So we'll have to see. That's one of the days. We say this an awful lot, but it is one of those things we do not know what's going on in the mind of Tetsuya Naito or Bushi and what they want to accomplish.
I think only Bushi knows what goes on in Naito's brain. I don't think even Naito knows.
All right then, we best preview tomorrow's show, aren't we? Really. Let's see.
Yeah, it's only because I haven't looked at any of the matches yet. I've been so busy with All Japan. I still have a show to watch, by the way, after we're done recording.
Best of Super Juniors, we will be in Iwanamu at Miyagi Iwanamu City General Gymnasium. This one is on video on demand because they're recording it, and then commentary will be put on at some point, and then it'll be released to the public. So you might have it with Japanese commentary. And as we discovered last week, Marcus watched Make Us That Mod's Retirement on Japanese commentary and thoroughly enjoyed himself. He thought it was good. He liked the drama of it. So there you go. Maybe you should listen occasionally.
Probably
on Japanese
better
commentary.
choice, yeah. I heard you commented on that one.
Yeah, Yes, because he didn't want to listen to the sound of paint drying. Anyway, Dragon Dyer, Katsumira Miyashima will go up against United Empires, Francesco Akira and Jacob Austin Young.
Oh, does that mean we're getting Dragon Dyer Akira next? Oh, that should be fun. Ooh.
El Desperado and Sho Maketo will take on Dakai Nagai and Nick Wayne. Two angry young men together.
Thespian Nagai. Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
Yes, and Nick Wayne. I'm assuming we're getting Despy Nick Wayne at some point this week.
We are, yeah, that's the next match. But I'm just more focused on Despy and Nagai because I feel like Nagai is like baby Despy.
I like how the fact if anyone comes over from AEW, it just washes over you. It's like, yeah, he's not going to be here next week.
So halfway through, I'll consider whether I like you or not. In the beginning, I do not care.
Americans. Yes. Hiromu Takahashi and Shingo Takagi, no longer of LIJ, will go up against Hartley Jackson and Kazuya Fujita.
I love this logic of like, well, you're not in affection and you're not Honsai, so might as well squish you together again.
Li not gay.
Yeah, we don't know what to do with you guys. Formerly of LIJ, it is.
no longer ignorable. Yes. You are now governable because we took away your leader.
We took away your rights too. You will do what we want you to.
Best of Super Junior 32 block match, Robbie X versus Ninja Mac. Oh. I'm very much looking forward to that.
Flippity-doo.
Flippity, floppity, flippity, flip, flip, floppy, with some submission wrestling as well. Mao versus Kevin Knight, arguably the two most athletically gifted wrestlers in this particular tournament. Should be fantastic.
I'm excited about Mao because my friends adore him and everything that I've seen from him has been amazing.
He is floppy at loveliness, let's be honest. He is fantastic. And that smile. Yeah, I love a guy that'll got a smile like that.
Yeah, when you look at him, I understand why Ueno is so obsessed with him. I get it.
Anyway. Master Water versus Clark Connors. Enjoy.
Water's gonna suffer. Water's gonna suffer.
Yes, he is. He's gonna get tails wrapped around his head and be in horrible positions and pile driven from here to his Kingdom Come, and probably still win.
And I will have the best time.
Indeed, you will. Looking on in aghast in horror as your boy gets murdered by a war dog.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Intriguing. Robbie Eagles versus Yo. This will be weird, but good.
This will involve kissing.
Yes. This will be quite gay. And also very weird, but good. Just lean into it.
Do you know Yo is facing after Eagles?
I don't know.
Sure.
Well, that for it. Oh.
I think.
We'll find out in a minute. Best of Super Junior's main event block being Raisuke Taguchi versus Daiji Ishimori. Actually, you will not be that bothered about. No, it isn't the main event. This is the order that's on the cage match pages. That doesn't mean it's going to be the main event.
Oh, okay.
They are both former IWGP Junior Heavyweight IWGP Junior Heavyweight champions, and no one else on this card has been.
Least interested in.
Yes. Oh, Robbie Eagles is the only other former junior heavyweight champion on this card. So yes, on seniority they should go last. But
I guess
it's even a junior heavyweight these days. So yeah.
Is he even a wrestler considering the foolishness that he does?
I'm not really sure. Oh my God, night 3, which is on the 14th. We'll have a look at that because you're not with us tomorrow, are you?
No. For people who are listening, tomorrow's Mother's Day. My mother passed away a couple of years ago, and my brother and I always do something for Mother's Day, so I won't be here.
Yes, it's also today. Would have been my father's. Let me do the maths. 25, 80. It would have been his 87th birthday today. So thank you, Dad, for being my dad. He would have loved this tournament. But there you go. Thank you, Roy, for giving me wrestling fandom. It's made my life so much more enjoyable. Anywho, let's talk about Best of Super Juniors Night 3, which was all championship matches. Strap yourself in, kids. Francesco Akira versus Ninja Mac.
Ooh. Yes, good.
Kushida versus Robbie X. Oh.
It's funny how different we are.
Yes. Hiromu
I'm like,
Takahashi versus
oh,
Kushida.
okay.
Hiromu Takahashi versus Kosei Fujita. We can both enjoy that on many levels.
Ooh, yes.
Yes.
Hiromu was going to kill him. Like, how are you, little upstart?
Here's a one for connoisseurs of misery, like you are. Yoshinobu Kanemaru versus Clark Connors.
I will enjoy this, but not a lot of other people
will. Master Wato versus Dragon Dyer. Serious
Aw, the
flippiness.
purest of baby faces. They're going to try and out baby face each other.
They're just going to look there, looking at the
Who is the
mothers
heel
in
of
the
that?
crowd.
Who's
No
going to
heel in
play heel?
that.
I imagine Watto will.
Yes, they're just going to try and outflip one another and floppy headness all the way to make that more.
Before I forget, I just remembered about Fujita and Akira beefing on Twitter. Because Akira posted one of those tweets of, yeah, I lost, but next time it's going to be me. And then Fujita quote tweeted it, posing exactly the same way as Akira had in his picture and going, no, next year I'm wanting to. It's like, so funny. It's like teenagers beefing online.
That's what they are. In wrestling terms, they are still very, very young.
Babies.
We say this is very, very young. We watched that Meiko Satomura tournament final match last week, and Minami, who's the rising star of Sendai Girls, and we were so young, like Nick Wayne is and Akira, and Minami is 20 years old and is a 7-year veteran.
Yeah, well, just to say, I am nearing 40, so anyone under 25 is a baby.
Yes, that's reasonable. I'm just saying, it's just like, these things have levels. We talk about these guys, but then there's Joshi wrestlers. Half the Sendai Wrestle girls were rostered started when they were 12.
Yeah, but most of these boys have the emotional maturity of a 10-year-old.
12-year-old, yes. Where are we? Man of El Desperado versus Nicholas Wayne. AW Parish.
Despy will enjoy that because Nick Wayne is a white dude. He is too young though. Despy. On your tits.
Isuke Taguchi versus Titan. I actually don't know what that match looks like.
Torture.
A classic matchup of athleticism. Robbie Eagles versus Kevin Knight. That would be fantastic, I think.
Yeah, I think that'll be good. I think Robbie will be able, because he's such a submission and wrestler who like grabs you from the air. Will mix very well with Kevin's flippy athletic shit.
Styles make fights, as we so often say. Intriguingly, this also is a Styles makes fights kind of match. Taiji Ishimori versus Mao.
Mao. For some reason, that sounded really
hot.
It just sounded a certain way. Like, what did you say?
Mao?
Mao.
Mao. Just my accent, all right.
Sorry, I'm in a mood. It's hot here and I'm dying.
Taiji Ishimori versus Mao.
Yes.
Yes. Any comments on that?
I can't wait for the matches where I like Mao's opponent.
Yes. And finally, and last but by no means least, in fact, perhaps most importantly, Show versus Show.
Yes! I love this. I can't wait. This is either going to be very silly or Show is going to turn up the violence.
Ooh. Do you know where it's going to be?
Did you see the press conference bit?
I didn't. No, I've seen bits and pieces of the press conference. My favorite bit of the press conference was Fujita just staring into space.
No, the bit with Sho and Yo was hilarious because Joe came out last, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Yo just moved, so Sho was forced to sit next to him. And Sho walks out, and he sees Yo, and Yo is doing the whole "come hither" thing, right? He's has his head on his hand, and he's like making dreamy eyes at him, like, "Come over here, my friend. This spot is free. The last one. You have to sit here." And then Sho just is annoyed the rest of the press conference, and they do the whole thing, and there are pictures of this, of like Yo is looking at Sho, but Sho doesn't realize it, and then Yo turns away, and then Sho watches Yo, but Yo doesn't realize it. It's like a romance gone viral. It's amazing. I love these two together. I miss them. Roppongi 3.
Sorry if you heard a clunk there. That was me turning my microphone off and on because I needed to cough, which is not great.
I
because...
didn't hear anything. And
oh, it may just be my end then. That's good. I probably shouldn't have drawn attention to it. My apologies. We're still working out Discord. Getting there. So our recording schedule for this week will be a solo show from me tomorrow to catch you up on the news of the tournament. And then we will be on Thursday night. We'll be covering Wednesday night, if that makes sense. The show is on the, I've got my dates completely wrong now. So the show is on the 14th, that's night 3. We'll be recording on the 15th, and you will have that show on Thursday night. Anything else to say at this particular point?
Not really. Is there any other news that we got?
Not really. Not New Japan-y orientated, other than what happened to Resurgence last night.
One thing, TJP officially no longer United Empire.
Is he gone?
Well, someone asked, a Japanese fan asked him if he would come back and be part of United Empire, and he said no affiliation. And then he posted a picture of a puppet on strings, and his strings got cut, so he's now free or something. Whatever. That kind of
really do symbolism very well, does he?
I made the joke that it's kind of Pinocchio, which makes sense because he has been lying a lot. So yeah, either that just means he's gone out of United Empire or just gone entirely. I wouldn't be surprised if New Japan was like, "Well, you're a lot of drama. Just stay over there."
Yeah.
I think. Oh, that's another bit I saw. He's going to CMLL. He signed a contract or something to do over there. So it's New Japan adjacent, but not New Japan.
I'm guessing Rocky got him a job, I would suggest.
Probably.
Which is fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. Keeping your friends
Which
employed, I suppose,
reminds
no bad
me
thing.
of that tweet again.
Yes.
The bastardization by Rocky Romero.
I don't think it's entirely Rocky's fault, but they have made some spectacularly bad choices of late as far as who they've signed, so we'll see.
At least it's not Matt Riddle.
No, I mean, you know, for those of you who don't, we're kind of really talking about the Good Brothers, who aren't, like, you know, horrible, but also aren't particularly interesting.
I just hope they stay over there.
The Japanese fan, the Super J Cast, managed to find a bunch of tweets were like, "Oh God, really?" From the Japanese fans, they're not that bothered either. No. So we'll see what happens. I mean, they're not a good tag team, but it's just like, why? They've done everything. Why do you need them back? Is there anything possible that they can add to this product?
I feel like this is also a time where you need to push your own guys and your young guys. If you keep bringing back old guys just because Naito leaving has you concerned, you're not going to fix the problem.
If they brought them back to build someone up, I have no issue with it. But how long are they going to be around to build somebody up?
I guess maybe like bring them back to be defeated by Youngblood or something.
Yeah,
but then there's better people to do that with.
Yeah, I mean, like the last time they used Carl Anderson to build up Tama Tonga was brilliantly done. It worked really, really well. Then Tama left anyway. So it's just like who you do it with is another thing as well. So yeah, we'll have to see, I guess. But it doesn't strike me with confidence they're making good choices with their signees. Yeah, what can you do? I will be back tomorrow for a news roundup of Best of Super Juniors whenever it appears on my New Japan World. And then we'll be back on Thursday. Monday's episode will be a return to the beginner's guide to Japanese professional wrestling. Myself and the glorious Mr. Darrow Connor of the Wrestling Rewind. We will be looking at Wrestle Marinpiad 1994, which is a brilliant show because it was originally based in Yokohama because they had a marina, hence Wrestle Marinpiad. My trouble was Yokohama Marina was having a refit, so they had to move to Kawasaki, which doesn't have a marina. But they weren't not going to have a Wrestle Marinpiad, so they had a Wrestle Marinpiad anyway. There you go. Wrestling promoters. Insert your joke here. Thank you very much for listening to Today At. You can find me at Sheriff Lone Star on Twitter and on Blue Sky, and on Instagram as Sheriff Lone Star TX, and on Mastodon and on Pixel Fed as Sheriff Lone Star as well. Christy, where can we find you and your various social accounts?
You can find me at Smark Infested on both Twitter and Blue Sky. I have a GIF account for All Japan Pro Wrestling, which is on Twitter under the handle AJPW GIFs. And finally, I have an account for my All Japan podcast, which is all about AJPW on both Twitter and Blue Sky.
See you tomorrow. Take care and enjoy your wrestling. Bye!